If you're not published by now, will you ever be? Who told you you deserve to be here? Are you really a writer if it's not everything you do? This doesn't even make sense. They published a book in high school. What were you doing? Why do you think anyone wants to hear your story? You'll never catch up. They're already miles ahead of you. What's the point? Are you really a writer? Or is that just what you tell everyone because that's what you've told them your whole life? And now you can't take it back. You're a shit writer. You'll just keep starting over and over and over again on the same story. You'll never get it published. Who do you think you are? Why haven't you done more? You better catch up. Catch up. Catch up. Catch up. Catch up. Why aren't you doing more? God, you're so stupid. Hi everyone, happy Monday. My name is Rebecca and I'm a writer who also happens to have ADHD. I'm not a mental health or a medical professional. If you're seeking some sort of help, please contact a professional first. I'm only speaking from my own experience, and today I'm talking about intrusive thoughts, which kind of coincides with, what's it called? Imposter syndrome for me a lot. I know it does with quite a few people with ADHD. It is one of the diagnostic criteria that I had when I was going in to get my diagnosis. So that's something I struggle with a lot. If your brain ever sounds like that as a writer, then you're in the right place. Stick around. Basically, intrusive thoughts are thoughts that we can't control. If you have ADHD or if you think you have ADHD, something you need to look for is a thought that pops into your head that really bugs you, takes you out of your conversation, distracts you. A lot of times this can look like the space cadet, the little astronaut that's happening. It's one of the reasons people say you're so creative. And intrusive thoughts don't always have to be as negative as the ones that I put up front, but because I am talking about creative writing and the things that stop me along the writing process, those are the main thoughts that really pull me out of it and make me stop in my tracks and choke me up, and I'll go through months of writing dry spells that will leave me completely wiped and drained of any creative energy. But it is part of the thing with ADHD, right? So intrusive thoughts can be actually really happy thoughts where you can't stop thinking about an event that's coming up or something that excites you or interests you. It is also something with hyperfocus, I believe. I haven't done enough research on this, but if I had to guess, hyperfocus comes with a lot of intrusive thoughts in the way that you want to hyperfocus on this thing and it's all you can think about and it's pulling you out of the rest of life. So it is one of the diagnostic criteria of ADHD. We talked about ADHD superpowers in the last video I posted, or was it the one before that? I can't remember. I think it was the last one, where people assume that because you have ADHD, you have a sort of creative power. And intrusive thoughts can actually be one of those powers. And this is something I want to talk about in today's videos, because I personally have had a lot of the really terrible intrusive thoughts that this video started out with recently. So I also want to talk about how they can be driving forces in writing, because when they come, what I have started doing is using those as a bet, a deal with myself. I've been calling it the deal with the devil. You're at this crossroads. Actually, you know what? Let me take you into my thought process and tell you how these thoughts that I put at the beginning have been actually really helpful for me. Okay, so back up, zoom out. So I was having those thoughts running through my head. I was concentrating on them for a really long time, especially starting round table editorial. I was like, what the hell are you doing? You just write basically as a hobby right now. You don't have a published novel. You've been in some like local magazines, things like that, but nothing huge. So who the fuck do you think you are? Excuse my French. And recently, I don't know what the shift was. I think I saw, I was really inspired by someone I follow on Instagram. If you don't know, Hudson Warm is this incredible writer who's still in high school, and she's published a bunch and she's great. I was watching her story and I was like, why am I not using these intrusive thoughts, these comparisons as a driving force? And it really is a mind shift. I don't know if you can just put yourself there. I think it was where I was that day. I needed that push, that sort of, I don't want to say comparison or competition, but that's what it was. I was comparing myself to this person, and then I realized, okay, so let's compare. If you want to play the comparison game, you have nothing to compare right now because you're not doing anything. So if you really want to compare, let's compare. Let's do things that you can compare to. And that has really pulled me out of this sort of strike I was going through with myself, where I was saying, you're not good enough, you've never been published, why are you even trying? This person has been published way before you, way younger. But something I also started telling myself was, you were diagnosed with ADHD later in life. There's no way you could have accomplished those things in high school, even though you wanted to, even though that's who you wanted to be in high school. You couldn't have, because you didn't know that your brain anomaly was even a thing, right? So paired with those two things, it really broke me out of that. And I don't think that's something that we talk about enough, is how intrusive thoughts can be a driving force, even if they're obnoxious. Now, I'm saying this as if it's easy or even simple to just shift your mindset. Obviously, it's not, especially with a disorder. And I have no hope of thinking that this is gonna last super long for me. It has been a couple weeks. It's been really helping me to use the intrusive thoughts as driving forces. I am really afraid, though, that it's not gonna last, because I think that inspiration is fleeting, and I think people tend to lean on it too heavily. There's that trope of, oh, the muse is with me, and I'm gonna write it out as long as I can, but I'm not naive enough to think that this time is gonna be different than the previous times that I've been super inspired. So I'll keep you updated on that, but maybe you'll find it helpful that you can use intrusive thoughts and you can use imposter syndrome to your advantage to sort of push yourself and say, no, I'm not like that person. I'm just not. And you don't even have a place to compare yourself yet. So maybe you can use that as a jumping point. You can say, if I can build myself up to this, maybe I can start comparing myself to this person realistically. And I don't know if that's healthy. It's just how I'm dealing with intrusive thoughts right now. It also does help that I know what they are and I can identify them, which makes it a lot easier to say, okay, Rebecca, this is a symptom of your ADHD. This is something that your doctor has known you've struggled with, and this is something that your medication helps. So I can time my medication to take my medication when it's most helpful for me, when I know that the thoughts are going to be extra intense, which is usually in the afternoons. So that's something that's really helped, just being able to identify it and know that it's part of the process of having ADHD, unfortunately. So it also really helps when I feel like I'm being inspirational. And this is a little bit of narcissism creeping in, I think. This might just be me wanting to show off. I'm okay with that. And I want to be open and honest with you guys that it helps me when I'm bragging a little bit. As terrible as that sounds, I kind of like the idea of people comparing themselves to my progress. Not even competitively. I just like, I don't know, being someone's maybe sort of driving force a little bit if it pushes people toward doing something that they want to do. I don't know. That's probably just being very narcissistic and unhelpful. But I don't know. There's just something about it that drives me, which is why I like posting my writing progress on Instagram and seeing people see it. And I like seeing other people's progress too, because I think it pushes me. I know that at the end of the day, I feel a lot better if I've written. It's like a therapy. Even if I didn't feel like writing that day, if I saw someone and they wrote and it drove me to write, and I made that progress, at the end of the day, I feel really, really good about myself, even if it wasn't an internal force. I think sometimes external forces are very useful when it comes to motivation and getting yourself going. So maybe that can help you. Just post your progress, be in a little bit of a competition. Not all the time. I don't think it's healthy all the time, and don't take it to an extreme unhealthy level. But find that sort of symbiotic relationship with the self-deprecation, because I think that your body is giving you feedback when it's giving you intrusive thoughts like that in a weird, off-kilter way. If there's a way that it can be used, then use it, because ADHD is tough enough as it is without making everything the enemy. Anyway, guys, if you like this, if it helped you, if you can relate to any of it at all, drop a like, subscribe, the shebang. I'm gonna be here next Wednesday. If you can hear Bijou, she'll be with me next Wednesday. She's in her spot right now because she was trying to get up in my face. She likes lip gloss, so she was trying to lick it off my face and I just couldn't film with her. So she's in her cage and whining. Anyway, check out Roundtable Editorial. I started a business. I'm sure you know if you've watched my other videos. Links are all below. Instagram is below. Everything is there. So thank you guys. Happy Monday, and let me know your thoughts.